The pandemic has not yet ended, despite some saying that is the case. But that is not to say that there aren't some reasons to feel better, at least briefly, before it turns around and gets worse again. So I'm gonna try to give you a little bit of good news with your bad news. I'm gonna mix it together. So good news, COVID is now no longer the leading cause of death in the US. In fact, it has fallen to 5th or 7th, depending on how you look at it. If we bring up this chart, you can see that at one point it had spiked so that it was the worst, but now it has fallen below things like heart disease, cancer, stroke, respiratory illnesses, those sorts of things. So the sort of normal chronic things that regrettably kill thousands of Americans on a daily basis. So it has fallen, that is good. And the reason it has fallen so much is if you look at the number of cases per day, COVID has become much more rare. We're on the extreme right of that screen. You can see that dark winter. Remember, like when people were predicting the dark winter and then the right was laughing at them. Why are you pretending it's gonna be a dark winter? Yeah, well, look at that thing. That's insane. It didn't need to happen. So that's good. But a little bit of mixed news in this because I wanna show you the numbers. Now, overall, deaths in the last 2 weeks are down about 38%. We had on the 5th, 194 deaths reported. Now, it's a weekend day, so there's a lag. It's gonna be a little bit higher, but whatever. We're below 300, which is great. We have not been below 300 deaths a day for over a year now. The bad news is tests are down a good bit too, negative 17%. Cases are up 5%. Now, cases being up 5% isn't great when the Delta variant's going around and all that. What makes it worse though is that in nearly half of all states, it's trending upward. So it's not 5% on average in every state, which would be bad in its own way. It's going down in a lot of places because they've been vaccinated. And in other places, it's up fairly significantly, as you'll see in just a minute. Vaccinations are going down actually. We're getting fewer than 1 million doses being administered on most days. And less than half of the country is fully vaccinated. I know we haven't checked in on that in a bit, but it's still true. Less than half are fully vaccinated. We got 47%. Now, thankfully, 65 and up people, the numbers are better. 78% are fully vaccinated, 88% have at least one dose, and they're of course in the most risk. So that is good news. But we're not done with this vaccination-wise, except that we sort of are in a different way. And JR, I want to give you a chance to respond. I just want to put up this chart so you can see state by state how the cases are going. And some of them, like 5% overall in the US, but Arkansas is up 121%, Missouri 45%, Florida 63%. Others are down, but some significantly up as the Delta variant starts to spread like crazy. So there's some good news there, there's some bad news there. JR, what do you think?
So Arkansas is the one that's up 121%. Look, I think that's the leading one on these, along with Florida at 63%. Yeah, so I see headlines about the trends and where it's going, and then Biden states versus Trump states that are feeling the effect more. And this is what I have seen because I have family in Michigan. I got some folks and friends and family and friends in Missouri, and I'm asking like on a general basis, like, is it harder to get to some of these vaccines? Is the rollout that much more difficult? Because we're in Southern California and it was pretty easy. It was widely available to a point where people who weren't looking for it were getting solicited it as if it were like outside of a Trader Joe's and it was Greenpeace people walking around going, hey, why haven't you gotten your vaccine yet? I'm sorry to Greenpeace, but you gotta stop telling your people to be such a-holes. Anyway, it was widely available. So if you wanted to hear, you got it. And so maybe the rollout was the problem is what I'm thinking. Maybe it's a combination of the fact that people have been told they don't need it, or hey, I already got it, so therefore I'm immune already, all this stuff. But it's probably a little, as I was thinking, it's probably a combination of both. And how do we fix that again now? And also, how much do we have to really care about the folks that don't want to? It's come down to a personal decision, as we've always said. I mean, not as we've always said, but as people like to say in America, personal decision, personal responsibility, personal responsibility. Hey, we're at the personal responsibility levels now. And if you choose not to, that's up to you. And many people that choose not to won't die. I'm happy for you, that's great. And there's some that are gonna choose not to that will die.
Yeah, it's sad, yeah.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.